across the land. Of course, you know you're tuned into the number one station on the net, Hotline Radio, and the number one show on the net, The Keith Harris Show. And I am your guy, Keith Harris. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in with us today. Monday, start off of another wonderful, beautiful, successful week. And we are honored and blessed to have with us two gentlemen who are, you know, constantly making waves, well respected in this industry, and with a very long list of accomplishments on both sides. All right, so I want to do my usual drum roll. Okay, do my usual drum roll, and I want to lay out the red carpet. 2 red carpets today, as a matter of fact, for both of these gentlemen. First off, I'd like to introduce producer, writer, and casting director, Mr. Thomas E. Kelly. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. And also, director, actor. This man wears many hats, as a matter of fact. You know, in my eyes. Without any further ado, Mr. Michael Preece. Hello, sir.
Hello. How are you, Keith?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely great. Listen, you know, for everybody out there listening, you know, it's a triangle. You know, we're all different places right now. A lot of you know I'm on the East Coast. Thomas, if he doesn't mind me saying, he's down in Mexico, and you're in Malibu, as you say, right, Mike?
Yes, I'm in Malibu.
That's right,
California. That's
right. So big shouts out to everybody out there. Listen, first of all, I want to again thank both of you gentlemen for coming on and joining me today. It's sincerely an honor to have you guys on here. I know you're working on some wonderful projects. Before we get working on some wonderful projects together, but before we get into that and kind of go individual with each other, Michael, why don't you tell us? Listen, as if so many people out there should not or don't already know, okay? Because listen, this guy has created. Listen, I grew up watching these films, to be honest. Like my parents are watching these films, and I grew up watching these. He's legendary. Let everybody know how you got into the industry, and then we'll go into some of the things you did.
All right, I'll tell you a quick inversion of it because it's a long story. When I was about 19 years old, I was going to college, and I needed some money, so I worked, and the film business was just television, was just starting. The film business was fine, but television, and they needed people. And my mother was the business representative for what they call Script Clerks Guild at the time. It's the person on the set with a stopwatch and the script that keeps them sort of in line, continuity and things. So I got a job that summer going down to Georgia to work on a movie called The Great Locomotive Chase for Disney, and they paid me pretty darn good. I think at the time, $135 a week. And when September came to go back to school, I was working. I got into the guild, and I was making $160 a week. So I said, "Heck with college! I'm just gonna keep working until I get a bunch of money." And by that time, I was married and had a kid. And so I started that way, and I worked 20 years as a script supervisor at different studios, every place from MGM to Paramount to Columbia, all those places. A lot of television, independent, from television shows that no one's ever heard of, like Whirly Birds and things, all kinds of stuff. And then 20 years later, I was working up in San Francisco on a show called Streets of San Francisco with Michael Douglas and Carl Malden, and they gave me an opportunity to direct one, and I guess I did a good enough job, and I got another one, and then I was put under contract at Universal Studios, and now, I don't know, I've done maybe many shows, many television shows, and a couple of movies, but mostly television, episodic, everything from Dallas to Walker, Texas Ranger, to Knots Landing, to I don't know,
everything.
MacGyver.
Yeah.
I don't know. Things that, most of them are gone. I think that Seventh Heaven was one, but I've shot many episodic television shows.
Yeah,
and that's it. Basically, that's how I got into the business.
Yeah,
through my mother.
there's
nepotism.
absolute look, and you know, and you have a long list. I was just telling, I was talking to Thomas earlier, and I was like, goodness, almost ran out of paper trying to try to write all this stuff down.
Well, I've worked on television shows no one has ever heard of, so where they made 5 or 6 of them and then they cancel it. But you always hope going in that it's successful.
What do you mean?
And sometimes you're surprised. I worked on a movie one time that I thought was the worst script, the worst show, and it turned out that it was one of the best movies that I ever worked on. It was called The Paper Chase. About Harvard Law School.
Wow.
So, you never know. Right. But now we're trying to do this big Western, and I think I think it has great potential.
Oh, look, you know what?
We can talk about that.
Right. And, I was looking over that, and we're going to, like you said, we're going to talk about that because I believe this is going to have phenomenal success, especially with you two working on it. And before we talk about that, Thomas E. Kelly, everybody, all right? He, again, as I say, a producer, a casting director, and also an author, okay, with quite a few novels under his belt, if I must say so myself. 13, as a matter of fact, and probably almost more right now. But kind of let everybody know how you got how you got your foot into the industry, or just how you made the decision that this is what you wanted to do, Thomas.
Well, it happened about 6 years ago, I guess. My wife come to me. I wrote this children's book for my daughter, and it was kind of put together, kind of illustrated. And, I said, you should be writing, not building. So she kept on me, and I kept saying, well, no, you really have to have a career to write these degree, and I'm not going back to college at my age for that. So she actually sent it off to a publisher, and they jumped on it, and it just kind of went from there. And I wrote several other things, and then I wrote When the Storm God Rides. And her and I, we went down, and I told her, you know what? It's a pretty good story. Let's make a film. Let's make a short out of this. So, you viewed the music videos.
Oh yeah, I did. And we did the short, and it was junk. I mean, $30,000 later, I learned everything that you shouldn't do. And then from there, Michael called me out. That's almost been, 3 years ago, Michael?
Yeah, I think so. It's been 3 years.
Yeah, it will be in July, yeah. And he wrote me a little email saying, I really like your script. If you feel comfortable, write me or call me, whichever one you feel most comfortable with. And I go, wow, Michael Preece called me? Yeah, okay. So I called Michael and I said, oh, you like my script? Well, yeah, but it needs a lot of work.
Is that what he said? Did he say that to you, Thomas?
Well, yeah, he kind of took the wind out of my sails. I go, okay, what does it need? We'll go back and read it, and you can figure it out.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I think the script at that time was like 180 pages, which it should have only been 120 to 125 or so. So I cut it down, and Michael, I sent it to him, and he goes, well, you're getting better.
Too many actors in it, it was kind of out of, it was just a little too much stuff in it for a 2-hour movie.
Right.
So, but it's now down to a suitable and reasonable. Everything's good.
Right. So you got you.
But as we always say, you never. It's like anything, you never finish it.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. And I learned a lot from Michael over the last 3 years, and through learning to him that I was able to do what I've done So my hat's off to Michael.
Right.
I was very lucky in the early years. I worked with on a lot of westerns when I was script supervisor.
Right.
That's our official title, script supervisor. And I worked with people like Peckinpah, Sam Peckinpah, famous western director, and a guy named Henry Hathaway and John Ford. A little bit with John Ford, not really much. I did a movie, How the West Was Won, which was the first western in Cinerama.
That was huge.
They had these huge cameras, and it was like 3D is now Cinerama, but the screen was just hugely wide.
Right.
They put 3 cameras and photographed it all, and then so the panoramas were outstanding.
Right.
But and then I've worked True Grit, which is a well-known movie. The first one with John Wayne. I worked with John Wayne on a couple of movies. So I have even though I'm not a cowboy, I have a lot of Western in me.
Right.
I love them.
Right, and that okay. Now you both. It looks like you both could kind of create the Western dynamic duo, if I will, because Thomas, you're writing these wonderful Western scripts, and then you're good at directing them, Michael. But let me ask a question: is there's something that sets Westerns apart from other films, and it really makes them unique? And what I mean by that is that they're kind of in simple form. They're heroic, They're heroic. They're somewhat set in the old, back in the olden days. What is it that you both find that makes Western films turn out so successful? Not all of them, but the ones that you guys work on.
Well, I'll say something first. Thomas knows more because he's a real historical student or professor. But I love it because people can sit back and say, well, there are no cell phones. There's no, things took longer. It actually took 3 days to go from one town to another or whatever, and they were really simpler times. And I think people enjoy going back like that. I mean, I love watching even mystery movies that were set in the 30s before, when they had dial phones and stuff. I just like the simplicity of life, and I think it's if you watch these new movies that are popular today, I mean, everything is so far-fetched that or futuristic that it's enjoyable, but I think it's not relaxing like maybe a nice Western. That's just a short.
This is very true. I would agree with that, because I notice in the Westerns you have all the same action. You have the great plots. Someone's getting saved, someone's getting killed, someone's getting shot. I mean, it's not missing anything, but just like you guys say, you don't have all this extra stuff that's going on. It's this sometimes just kind of unbelievable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and also, like the couple of movies they've made where they tried to modernize a Western, in other words, like The Lone Ranger did, it got, to make it too unbelievable. I think we've got to go back, or not go back. A good Western is just a good story, and if it's a good story, people will listen to it or watch it. But I don't think it needs a lot of tricks, a lot of special effects. It does not need. This one is just a very good story, and that's what I think we are aiming for.
Right. Now,
I think that people will enjoy it.
Right. Now, Thomas, when you wrote When the Storm Gods Rides, what kind of, without giving too much away, Thomas, what did you have in mind when you wrote When the Storm Gods Ride?
Well, when I started it started out as somewhat a double revenge story.
Mm-hmm.
And back in the Civil War, there's a fellow named Cooper that James Haynes, 2 of his brothers. So 15 years later, he comes looking for James, and he's an outlaw,
mm-hmm.
and has an outlaw gang. And he didn't find James. He found his wife and daughter, and James just wanted peace. He'd hung up his guns and everything. He'd been a bounty hunter, and
right.
so they killed his wife and daughter, and that sent him across 4 territories, hunting them down. And he hunted them down to the last man.
Man.
And that's,
and you know
you got the script, so you'll know when you read it. It's a great story, and that's where some of the films that come out, the westerns and stuff, there's really no storyline to them. You know, it's shoot 'em, bang bang, and that's it. And but everything that I write, I try to make it a great story, and I put real people in there that were in that time and place. I put real places. I don't make up a place. It's either happens in this place or that place, and it's a real place. And I want to be able to, because we have 2 or 3 generations that just grew up with playing computer games that don't know anything about a Western.
Yeah, right.
They didn't get out as little boys and play cowboys and Indians or anything like that, like I did, Michael did, you know. So I want them to be able to look back and look at history. History is really great. I mean, I love history, and you should be able to go back in time and look at what, if it wasn't for the West and how it turned out, there probably wouldn't be the U.S. like it is.
Yeah.
So we're losing that, and we really need to be brought back with great stories.
You know what? You're right, and you know what? I'm going to agree with you on that, because again, as you point out, Western, you know, the Western lifestyle does have a significant place in history. And to be quite honest, that's not even in curriculum. I mean, I know in my age, you know, day and age coming up, that's not something that we really learned about. But it plays such a major part on, you know, the American build.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've talked to youngsters, they have no idea who Don Harden was, or Custer, or any of the Wild Bill Hickok, you know, on and on. They just had no idea about them.
Yeah. And this...
And
it seems like...
It's so interesting.
Right. It seems like this, it also seems like this script, you know, the plot to this movie, it's really a manly man situation. Again, it takes us back to a place that we all can really relate to. You know, when you think about a guy whose family who's been harmed, and you're going down to hunt these people down, everyone can relate to that feeling. Every man just, you know, it'll stop and make you think about it. Because when I was I'll listen, Thomas, you know, I'll listen to the songs. I listen to the, you know, saw the videos and stuff like that. And as I listened to it, I just stopped and I was like, wow, just listening to the words. And I'm like, you know what? That's true. And I played it back over and over again. Just the music itself almost paints a movie in your mind.
It does. And, you know, I wrote those lyrics, and, you know, I had some good guys put it to music and sing it. Doug Stone sung Thunder Calling Out His Name. And, yeah, they tell the story.
Absolutely. Now, how, you know, are you guys in post-production of this, or you know, is there
we're in pre-production, where we're, you know, some of the casting has been done, you know, through people sending in their videos of for the smaller parts, but you know, we're obviously the 2 leads would have to be what they call A-list players, and you know, it's like the movies about revenge have always, the ones I stick out in my mind, starred, you know, like Charles Bronson did those where he, somebody killed. I mean, it's similar stories, but they're different time things, and there's only 12 stories away. But so we need someone, a modern day Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, Charles Bronson, that kind of guy that would be a hero who was a very tough guy at his time, and now he's sort of looked back and has become a farmer and a father and a husband, and then the bad guy would you want somebody that is bad.
Right.
Robert Duvall would have been great 30 years ago or whatever, that kind of guy. But, so now we're looking for those. The other casting, Thomas has done has some very good people that roles, but as we all know, it's always open because my memory of I worked on a movie one time, and they hired an actor who weighed 300 pounds, and but they didn't start shooting for about 6 months after he was hired, and he showed up on location, and he weighed 175 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So and he was already been hired, so they had to make a fat suit for him because called for a fat guy, and he got this skinny face sitting on a big fat body. So, everybody has to kind of like be seen before we start shooting this movie.
Well, okay, and speaking about it, okay, and talking about someone who can play the main role, and again, I know we can't give anything away on that, but I'm thinking about people of nowadays and who could fit in certain roles like this, who could really have that kind of rough, the kind of just that grunge, I'm gonna go get them attitude of a Western, and I don't know, like you guys know better than I.
They're around. There are guys who could do this very well. It's just a matter of of finding him at when we're ready to go. They'll come in droves, the actors, to try to get this role, and we'll be very fair with them. And you want somebody who has a good a good rating, who the teenage girls love as well as men love. It's one of those guys. I mean, we every once in a while, if you look through who I mentioned, the actors who both men and women like, they come along. So this is also an opportunity for somebody who doesn't have a big name to suddenly become a household.
Yeah, especially.
I can tell you a few that could fit in Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin could fit it.
Okay.
Chris Hemsworth. Even the fella that just got to playing Mad Max could do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I can see that one. I forgot about that film. All right. Yeah, but and I know if they're out there, you guys can definitely find them. I know if anybody can, you two can. But I just thought about that for a second. I'm like, who's gonna, Because a lot of people, look, and I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but a lot of people are so pretty nowadays. You guys know that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're not looking for.
I look for guys that are going to play leads or stuff that are going to, have a little history at their face,
Yeah. No.
It's like there's several bad guys we could play.
Yeah.
William Defoe could play a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. See, now you're bringing up some people. Look, you guys are thinking about who you might cast, but have you have any decisions rolled off? I know you can't say who they are, but have you guys made any calls yet or sent anybody the roles?
Well, yeah, not quite yet. On those, I mean, those are people I'm looking at.
Yeah. I know some people that jump on.
You really got to wait till you're fully funded, which we may hear very soon on that for the Storm God. And then I'm trying to push the Silk and the Gun out there. That's a fantastic story.
Right.
It's about 6 women outlaws in the U.S. Marshal, and these women are the leads, but it's not like The Quick and the Dead or anything with Sharon Stone. These women were pushed in to becoming outlaws because of this rancher that wanted people's land. If he couldn't buy it or talk them out of it, he would burn them out of it, you know.
These
And, go ahead.
just hearing you define, just as you talk about, what these films are about, just right off the back, right off gate, they sound like films that you want to watch. And I mean, I'm not trying to, play the butt roll guy, or riding too hard or anything like that. But just the description, of how you're describing it, within the first sentence, these sounds like wonderful films. Okay, you take that, what you just said, six outlaw females who have to do this because someone wants to take away some land. Okay, again,
and they killed their families or their fathers or whatever, uncles, and so they become outlaws.
Wow.
It's a very moving story as it gets towards the end. But, yeah, you like that one, don't you, Michael?
Yeah, very much. That's a good one. Yeah.
So safe to say you guys are bringing good home westerns back then, because we need some. We need them.
Well, that's why about a year ago, Michael and I and a couple other people, we started Snakebite Entertainment and Production Company because we want to put out good family films, but exciting films, people that want to go see and maybe want to see them twice because they were so good.
There's also Fearless Guns too. Fearless Guns as well. Did you two work on that?
Oh, the Fearless Gun. Oh, yeah. That Fearless Gun is another good one.
Yeah.
And, oh, gosh, what do we got?
Thomas is one of the writers, very rare, that writes very quickly, the ideas come to him, I guess, in the middle of the night, and he gets up, because I'll get calls here kind of early, and he'll say, let me read you this, and he'll come up with an idea during early in the morning, and that's better than sleeping. So that's the way he writes, and his ideas are interesting, and he runs them by other people and says, "What do you think of this? Is it good or what?" And so I guess if people say that's a bad idea, then he'll change it to another one. But he's a very prolific writer and has and fast. He'll say, "Well, I wrote 20 pages today." I know writers that they get that writer's block. I guess they all do, but he doesn't seem to get that as far as I know. He does, and he hasn't told me yet.
I have a jam. Let's knock on wood.
Hey.
But the Storm God is a trilogy. It starts off with the Storm God, and then Storm God 2, which is Blood River, and then the beginning, which kind of tells you all about James, how he become so good with a gun and how he's so good at gambling and other things. And then we got the Silk and the Gun, and then one that I'm writing, it's Sweet Revenge. It's out of Western. It's about a woman, a young woman that's turned serial killer.
Oh.
Because of what men did to her. And then I've got one that two of them I'm writing right now. It'll kind of surprise you. I'm writing one about a Western serial killer, which there were several.
What?
Yes. And the truth is that's based on a a true story, and true fact. And then I'm writing a sci-fi it's called 2059. Very interesting sci-fi. I've never read one, but everybody tells me it's good. I had another writer and a producer friend of mine read it today, and well, I guess you read it yesterday, but he wrote me today about it. Told me he goes basically real quick. I really liked where you're going with Brian. Well, I can't tell you that. But he says, you're right. He said, what he did, I like seeing the other side of your writing than just Western. Great stuff.
Wow.
And he said, keep writing. You're a force to be reckoned with, as the world will soon learn, brother.
Indeed. How do you, Thomas? How do you pull off so many projects? Do you set aside a certain time of day to work on each project, or will you do some writing on one project for a week and maybe the other one the next week?
I started writing again this morning at 3:30.
Oh wow.
Usually I write all day long, or in between putting this movie together and everything, with everything else that I do. I put in about 16, 17 hours a day.
Man, wow, that's a lot. So you get some rest, but you get just enough rest to maybe to maybe hop right back on the script again.
Yeah, I do this 7 days a week.
Man, holy wow. Now, Michael, what do you think has kept you with such a sharp eye, being a director over so many years? How'd you stay that sharp?
I don't know. I've always enjoyed movies, watching them. In recent years, I don't go to as many, but certainly at Academy Award time comes, I get the DVDs of them, so I watch them all, and and then I watch a lot of old movies on television, and when I have time, when I'm not at the gym or whatever I do, playing tennis. But I'm always trying to make movies. I try to help, especially young people who are trying to get started in the business. And a young guy a couple of years ago, he was trying to make a movie, and I advised him. I like doing that because and then I have lots of friends who are still involved very much in making television shows all over the world. I have a friend that shoots as a cameraman in Vienna, and he shoots a series, and I just saw some of his work. So I stay involved every day of it, but I don't get up at 3:30. That kind of bothers me. I try at 3:30 because I get up and go to the bathroom at 3:30 and then back to bed. Anyway, that's not bad. To do with. I'm not lazy, but I spend my whole life getting up at 5 o'clock to go to work. Because they always start early in the film business. And, stories about that. I was in Italy doing a movie, and they don't. If you say you have a 7 o'clock call, they mean that they're called to wake up at 7 o'clock. They don't go to work that early, but so Italy's a good place to work if you like to get up late.
Oh, okay, right. Now,
yeah, well, get ready to do that again, Michael, because I'm going to work.
I don't like getting up early, but I did a movie in Sardinia, and it was really, boy, is that country laid back.
What's that? I heard Thomas tell you to get ready to work again because he's.
No, I'm ready. I was just being. I admire him for that. That tenacity to get up at 3:30 and start writing.
Right.
Because you get a lot of ideas. It's like when when you first wake up, that's when you say, "Oh, I got to get, I
Right.
got this idea I dreamt about, and go write it." Yeah.
Right, and Thomas is right. Look, and Thomas is writing good work too, Michael. You got a lot of people who get up at 3:30 in the morning and write something, and then look at it again by maybe 11:30 later that day, and it's like, well, what was I writing? You know?
And this is nonsense.
Right.
Like that Seinfeld where he wrote something down in the middle of the night and couldn't decipher what he wrote down. Yeah.
He did good.
Yeah.
Now, Michael, let me ask you this now. Okay. 62, I believe it was 62, correct me if I'm wrong, 62 episodes of Dallas. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Now look, okay. Everyone knows Dallas. Everyone knows that this guy, Mr. Ewan, everybody knows this was the most loved and the most hated guy on television at that time. Okay. But everybody was in front of the TV screen, no doubt, when it came on. How were you able to direct that and still keep that? You managed to maintain a love-hate relationship in just a midway point that no one could leave it alone. How did you do that?
One thing about Dallas, the actors, Larry Hagman, Patrick Duffy, Linda Gray, Sheree Wilson, Barbara Bel Geddes. You really didn't, there was not much directing because they knew their character. So it's mostly staging and trying to keep their energy up and not give away things. Like, you knew Larry liked to end certain scenes with a little giggle, where a cackle almost, and so you didn't want to give that away too soon. So there would be corrections, but the actors knew what they were doing. In Dallas, it was so hot there when we were filming sometimes that I would mime. I'd be out in this heat, staging a scene, and I would the actors were inside the house through a glass window. I could see them, and they were air conditioning and everything. And I would be out there, and I'd say, are you stand here? Talk. I'd move my hand like I was talking, and then I said, "Then walk over, I'd walk over to his car, get in, and then I'd have the others one chase him over to the car or whatever, and mime it all, come out, and not even rehearse it, just shoot it, because it was they knew their characters. They were a wonderful cast, So the time that really got to direct is when they would have a guest star. Or a kids, and then you get to really pretend you're a director. But it's all the known directors, except for it's who you hire. You have the script, a good script, and the actors you hire, and they'll give you a good story. But Dallas was a delight to work on. We used to, how people complain about the long hours on television shows or movies. We had to fight to finish at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, to stretch it till 3 or 3:30, because it looked bad if we quit too early, because they'd say, "Why don't you do it in one less day?" So anyway, that's that.
Wow. Now, Thomas, what?
Yeah, Larry Hagman. In those days, he liked to drink a little bit.
Right.
So we tried to get most of the work done in the morning, because lunch would come and the guys would go out and have a couple of drinks and come back, and then they couldn't they couldn't remember dialogue. So, but it was really a great group, and we had an executive producer writer who wrote what we called the Bible each season. So that his name was Leonard Katzman, who's gone now, but he was. He could do no wrong. I mean, like if there was a problem on the set, somebody showed up with I remember one time Sheree Wilson had a big canker sore on her lip, and we had to vamp to figure out why she had that. So some pages came down and explained it in the dialogue, so we were able to film her. That kind of thing. So it was a great show to work on.
Wow.
No complaints about it.
Wow. And now, Thomas, you were entered in the WWA for a Silver Spur Award. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I didn't win it, but
But
yeah, I was
hey,
in it.
you deserve to be there. You guys listen. You guys are gonna get the next one after when Storm God Rise comes out though. I see that.
We think the Storm God Rise is going to do wonderful. It's a great story. And, you know, I put together, I've been, blessed. I've got all award-winning people surrounding me. I got Michael. I've got Kamal Dikawi, who is our cinematographer, who is more than a cinema. He's award-winning too. He's an artist when it comes to filming. He's probably one of the best cinematographers in the business, and we become friends about 3 years ago. And that's a funny story. Sometime I'll tell you how I got him. But and then we have Pinar, who has I don't know, probably done about 40 movies. She's award-winning. She's a great composer, and we just love her to death. And her and I have become really good friends over this time. And so we've got a great team,
Right.
and that's what's going to make a great movie.
Thomas, and I have to ask you this because you do so much writing, and so many, if not just all of your all of your literature is wonderful. It's great. Have you ever written a novel where you was just like that you didn't like? Like, what was your worst one?
That's a good question.
If I ever write a bad one, I promise my wife I'll quit writing.
Wow. That's a good attitude to have, Thomas. But I mean,
and I told Michael that too. If I ever write a bad script, it'll be the last script I ever write.
Okay, because I guess because you never really get to the point of it being bad. You might find something and you see yourself going in the wrong direction, and you turn it around and take it back to where you want it to go. So I guess for you, somebody like yourself, a master at your craft, I guess there's no reason for you to put out a bad one.
No, and there is no reason. You've got to have a good story. I'm blessed with that. I mean, they come to me. Like, I've got all these ones I've told you about, but I got another 20 something that's in different stages, 30 pages, 50 pages, 20 pages, 10 pages. And, I may write down what I'm thinking. I send them some for a while, and then I go back and write the whole thing,
Right. Are you gonna and you, I'm sure you are, but you're planning to complete all of these too, I'm assuming.
That's correct. Yeah,
Wow.
We will. That's our plan. We know once we get out there that we're going to be making lots of movies because we have lots of really, really just great scripts. I mean, I have some that I feel are even better than The Storm God. So, and it's a great script.
I had a question. Because I know you do the casting, Thomas. Do you see anywhere? Is there anywhere for the skinny bald head guy in a western?
Well, you never know.
Look. He'd probably be the bartender, huh?
Oh, well,
You know what's kind of fun is when you watch some of the old, like Columbos or that. I don't know if you ever watch those things that were made back in the 60s or whatever. Do you ever watch those things?
Yeah.
And then I'll see, like at the bar, you'll see someone who's oh my God, that's a friend of Peter Falk, and the guy just happened to be a bartender. So that does happen a lot. And then last night they come on Sunday night here in around here, and Jamie Lee Curtis played a waitress with 2 lines. And that, I guess that was before she became famous, and there she was up there on the screen. Right. So, yeah, Keith, we need a skinny, bald-headed guy. We'll give you a line.
Right. A line, or I don't know, something. I'll get shot off.
Whatever, we'll have you shot and killed. That's more fun.
Hey, that's what I was getting ready to say. Yeah, just shoot me in the bar or something like that.
I was on a movie in Mexico one time, and we didn't have, and they put a mustache on me, and it was a movie with Dean Martin and Robert Mitchum, and I think I got killed 3 times.
Wow.
I was up on a balcony, and they shot me, and I fell into a pad, because at that time I was a script guy, but I needed money, support my family, and I'd do anything. Right. And they'd give me $100 or whatever for doing it. And then I played a little part in the movie. So we did a lot of that back in those days, especially if you were in Durango, Mexico, where they didn't want to fly actors down for a line or 2.
Well, let's don't forget Gilligan's Island that you were at.
Oh, yeah, I was in Gilligan's Island. Oh, yeah, I did Gunsmoke. I did Gilligan's Island. Yeah, not much, but all of it just to kind of for fun or to make money, basically.
Right. Now, where are you all planning? If you do you all know kind of what locations you're planning to shoot when the storm gods rises? You doing that in the Midwest?
In New Mexico.
Oh, in New Mexico.
Chris can tell you this because he's there, but he had us come down a few of the scout locations, the cameraman and some other people, and Santa Fe is a wonderful, scenic, beautiful spot. That's why they shoot westerns there, and they shoot a lot of things there. And it's so scenic. But go ahead, Thomas. Tell them why. Where we?
They shot Cowboys and Aliens at the James Ranch, Bonanza Creek Ranch. They've done John Wayne movies there. They've done just tons of them. But it's between here and Las Cruces. We'll probably shoot some in Las Cruces because there's really some beautiful scenery down there. But the main site will be here in Santa Fe. And the scenery changes every 20 miles, so it's just fantastic.
Okay.
And it's
we got a series in Santa Fe with short-lived series with Robert Urich, the Lazarus Man, and we had some wonderful locations, and you don't have to go. That's the thing I loved about it. You can basically shoot one direction, a whole scene, and you can turn around and shoot the other direction. You think you're a different part of the world. You never know.
Yeah.
It's like it's like parts of California. You can shoot toward the ocean. It's the ocean around. It's a green forest behind you. So you could, and that's how one saves time on a movie. Right. If you can, you don't have to spend half the day driving to a new location. You can just, basically have a base camp and shoot 2 or 3 locations within walking distance.
Right. Now, one of the, at some point in time, or even when the storm gods rise, are there going to be any films that you all are shooting that will include the Cowboys and the Indians as well, where they kind of get into it and have a war?
There's some Indians in the Storm God.
Okay.
There's some other ones that I've written that we have that's in the Storm God too. Blood River has a lot of Indians. It actually opens up with James up on a mountain watching Custer's last battle. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then he spends 2 or 3 days out running the Sioux and the Cheyenne.
Wow.
And getting over to Milestown, which now is Miles City, Montana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's just that element is pretty exciting, I suppose. Just having, because people who watch the movies, they see one side with the guns, one side with the arrows, or whatever they use, spears, however. But that has to be exciting when you guys are filming that as well. I mean, because sometimes you have to wonder. Look, it's always something when when you see those two go at it, and someone has a gun and someone has an arrow, and yet they kill off the person with a gun.
Yeah. Well, I do it a little different than Hollywood has done it. And a lot of the cowboys and western Indian things, they always show that Indians are the bad guys, and the white guys are the good guys. I always show the Native Americans in a good light because, in actuality, the country kind of messed over them,
Oh.
And they all weren't bad.
Right.
And, it's like Geronimo. They really depicted him in a lot of ways as being a really bad guy. But if you get into the history of Geronimo, actually, he was pretty friendly with whites until the Mexicans massacred his family.
Okay.
Then he went to war with the Mexicans, and he crossed back and forth between the U.S. and Mexico on his little raids, and then Mexico got a hold of it, and the U.S., the government there said, okay, we need you to help us get him. So then, it was all on. But, a lot of it was because their land was taken.
And
I know you probably read about the buffalo being slaughtered. Well, the buffalo were just slaughtered and left lay to kill the Indians, the Native Americans' food chain.
Oh. Okay.
And that's what brought down a lot of tribes to where they had to surrender. I mean, the Comanche, they lived for two things: to fight and hunt buffalo, and that's what brought their demise. They killed off all the buffalo.
Oh, okay.
They just slaughtered them. They didn't, and they left them not only to hide or take it, but then there was lots of buffalo just slaughtered and left lay, carcasses never used.
Most, I think a lot of people, unless they really know the history, but a lot of people, they watch these films. I know a lot of people don't even think about that, but there's just so much good action between the two, because it's to me, it's like any other fight scene. You've got rivals in everything from sports to politics to to history. So, I think the battle, just the battle itself between the two, and the fact that they use two different, types of fighting and two different methods was always so good. But now, talking about buffalo, that leads me to another question. Have you, I'm thinking you have, though. Okay, I'm assuming you have. But Michael, how do you guys cast buffaloes in the film?
There's still plenty of buffalo around. You bring them in, they have them. Hollywood is an amazing place. They keep them here. They can or in New Mexico. They might have to bring them from Utah or something down. But the buffalo. And also you can take say 25 buffalo and make them look like a lot more. That's what we need.
All right. So, do you, Thomas, and when you're writing the scripts, Thomas, do you incorporate all of that into it too? Let's say you're creating a film where the buffaloes are roaming, like how?
Oh yeah, there's actually in the storm gun. There's a white buffalo.
Oh.
And we'll have some other buffalo too. But yeah, there's a white buffalo that shows up. There's this mysterious shadow rider that when the buffalo shows up, kind of fades, he's there.
Oh, wow.
And he kind of tracks and looks after James. You don't know whether he's a devil or angel or what he is until pretty much the end.
Wow. Holy wow. Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, I had to ask that because I'm thinking, there's so much. Again, you're dealing with the outside when you speak about westerns and things of that nature. So Mexico, where you guys are going to film, they still
New Mexico.
Sorry, New Mexico. Will they still have the saloon look? Will you guys be going into the saloons and things, or?
Oh yes,
Oh.
yeah. Imogene at Bonanza Creek Ranch has probably one of the best towns here, and her town is set up where you get a 360-degree filming view.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she's got saloons, hotels, gun shops, you name it, it's there.
Oh. Okay.
And then she's got, you remember 310 to Yuma?
Say it again. 3 what?
310 to Yuma?
No, I didn't
It
know.
was a movie, a pretty well-known movie
Okay.
years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, they made her new
Yeah,
one.
Keith is younger than.
I know, but you know what? Now, most of these films you guys are naming, though, I do know of them. But that one right there, I probably heard, but I haven't.
Well, there's a house out on Imogene's property that they filmed that was guy's, what's his name? I can't remember right now. But anyway, that was his house. Part of it was filmed on her ranch.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then, therefore, right. So you guys have a lot of good locations to film at. Then, listen, I know you all have it well put together. Now, before we get ready to go again, when did you guys start Snakebite Entertainment again? I love that name, by the way, Snakebite Entertainment.
I started last May.
Okay. Wow. So this is okay. So this is so over the last year. Well, but then you guys have been working together for 3 years, as you say. But you.
Thomas just had another name. It was, When the Storm God Rides kind of productions, and then he just put it all together with a new name.
Okay.
I think. I mean, that's a simplification of it, but
Yeah.
a lot more thought went into it than that.
And the Snakebite Entertainment obviously goes along with the whole, like the
Western
Yeah.
theme, and also anything you make. there was a director, Sam, what's that talked about, Sam Peckinpah, who made some pretty darn good westerns and also other movies. But his nickname was Rattlesnake Sam.
Wow. Was he was a bad man, wasn't he? Rattlesnake
Well,
Sam.
he was tough.
He had to be.
So that, yeah. I mean, when you're called a rattlesnake, you're
Right.
tough, or mean, or bad, or something.
Right, and again, rattlesnakes. I'm assuming they'll be in the film as well. Now, now Thomas, with so many writings, where can people, where can all the fans and followers and people go to check out some of your books that might be out as of now, or should they look for them in the future, or? Thomas, some of your not.
Thomas? Hello?
Yeah, I don't. I think he may still. I'm thinking he's still there. You there? You there, Thomas? I think.
Hello.
Hey, there you go.
Okay.
He's back.
Yeah, there's Case Publishing, Amazon,
Mhm.
Barnes and Noble, and then people can find us on IMDb, and they can also find us on Facebook just by putting the Facebook in and then WTSVR, and they can hit the fan club there.
Yeah, that's short for When the Storm God Rides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that stands for When the Storm God Rides, yes.
Yeah, and you know what? And you guys have a large following as of now. Just to let all the listeners out there know. All across.
We have a huge following yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's movies that are out right now that don't have the following that we have.
Exactly. But then you know what? As I was saying before, though, you guys are pros. Though I'm not surprised by that. I mean, you've got a lot of people who try to do this, and I mean, kudos and congratulations to them. But you guys are well respected in what you do. You're masters at your craft. And one thing that I sincerely myself think you both bring to the table, which we talked about earlier, you both take it back to a genuine element. You take it back to a reality that people can really appreciate. And it deals, you're making films, you're writing, but it deals with situations that everybody can go through. Is good, they're good films, and they're not too overboard, and you guys have been doing this a long time, so I can understand why you would have so many followers compared to others.
I write them, and Michael will bring the magic to them. And my wife, I got to give her a little credit because she's actually she's one of the producers also, and Jeff, and she's got a terrific eye.
Mm-hmm. Wow, to know
she can really see things.
Right.
Isn't that right, Michael?
Yes. Well, she casting, and she'll see somebody in a movie or on a television interview show and say, "Ooh, that person would be just right for a certain character in the movies."
Right.
So, yeah, she has a very good eye.
That's good, and having her to keep you guys on point. You know what I mean?
I have to say, my wife's listening to me, so I'm going to say she also has a very good eye, and she helps me a lot, and always has.
Absolutely. You know what? And look, and that's the basis. That's the basics. You know what? Because you both can go out, and we all as kind of deal with this. You can go out and you could do your best work. But at the end of the day, or the end of the work day, when you come home and you sit down with the missus, just like in the movies you all make, when you come home and you sit down with the missus, that's really where your support comes from and where you get kind of that real story from. So, I can totally understand.
Exactly. And they don't get the credit they deserve many times, but they...
No, they don't.
Yeah.
And I try to give mine that. And Michael's wife, too, I love her to death. And she's actually going to be the head makeup person that run the makeup department in the film. And then my daughter, I call her CJ, but it's Caitlin, Jade, and she's actually in the film.
Okay.
And she plays a girl named Sarah.
Right.
Which is another reason we should get this movie going, because she's going to all of a sudden be graduating from a university if we're not careful.
I know. Actually, Michael, I was talking about that the other night. I told my wife, you know what? When I wrote this for her, she was like 10. And now she's 13. So now I got to go back in and redo her parts to make it an older girl.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's like, certain actors, it takes forever to get movies made sometimes, and they'll write it for, a young Dustin Hoffman, and suddenly he was too old to play the part, so.
Right. I'm glad you know what, but before we get ready to get out of here, I'm actually glad that we got onto that topic too, just about the women and females involved in the films as well. Because it's my fault, and a lot of times people think bias. You think of Westerns, a lot of times people only think of the men. But you guys bring up a very good point. That the women in these films play a significant role, even with when Storm God rides, because you're talking about the woman and the child who were murdered.
Yeah. Well, also Thomas has written a very good part for a woman marshal, which is a very a now woman. I mean, in modern, I don't mean but someone who can handle themselves, ride and shoot guns and all that stuff. So there's something for everyone. It's not just a man's movie. It's a you know, there's the women are not, you know, just wives or hanger-oners or whatever, but they're really important parts of the story.
Right.
Very important. It's like, you know, Victoria, that James meets after his wife is dead, been murdered. And, yeah, it's, I don't want to give too much away, but it's, they want to see the movie. You can just, I'll say, this looks familiar. I heard it on the radio.
Right. All right. Listen. Look, I wanted to thank you both for coming on today. You know, you know me. I speak for myself and so many others out there. You know, we're just congratulating both you guys on your success thus far, and wishing you, you know, much more continued success. And we are all looking forward, you know, to this movie. Again, Thomas, I sat back and I clicked on, and you know, I grew up listening to westerns, you know, because my dad was a heavy western follower. Like, you know, God bless him. So many of our parents I know right now would be looking down, and if, you know, even some of them that are here just want to thank, you know, thank you, you know, Michael, for the contributions that you have made to just great television, and now Thomas, you as well. You know, and you guys working together to bring that back. I mean, that really means a lot, you know. And I say that sincerely because with the way television in this day and age has changed, you know, people kind of get left out. The people who enjoy the stories that you guys write, they get left out. We don't see a lot of that. TV's not really for them anymore. So, you know, I kind of want to speak on their behalf and just thanking you guys for bringing that back.
Right. Well, before we get off here, I'd like to thank a couple people that have made this possible and have helped such a great deal. And that's Demetrius, who's one of our partners, and Chris Farrelly, who is one of our partners. He's Ned Logan. He plays an outlaw in this. And Donna Robinson, who has maintained our IMDb and our Facebook and put in many hours of hard work to help build it to what it is.
Right, and they have done a great job. Michael, any thank yous or?
No, I just hope that we can get this thing off the ground pretty soon and get shooting, because that's when it all. The fun part. Well, it's the hard work, but the fun part of it is actually seeing that page turn into a scene. You know, you look at a page and what it says, and then you say, "Wow, there it is, right in front of you." Right. And nowadays, with the modern techniques, you know, you can edit as you go along, so you can, you know, you can shoot a scene and edit it right, almost like right there, and then you say, "Oh, gee, I need another." A close-up or an insert or something. It's you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not like the old days," but I think these days are better than a lot of the old days, where you had to send film back to Hollywood and you didn't know what you got for you know, 3 or 4 days, and so this is a good time to shoot a western.
Is it any different? Is it any different for you guys right now? I hear a lot of people talk about the difference in the digital age of now.
Well, I'm trying to stay, you know, relatively in tune with it, and there are so many things you can do now that you couldn't do. You can film things, and you can in the lab you can put filters on when you're you know, when you're reprojecting it or whatever, and also, or you can do it on the set. But if you want to put storm clouds in, you can do it. You know, where years ago you had to sit there and wait for the storm clouds to appear. You know, but nowadays a lot of that stuff, you know, you can do you know, with the camera and post production. But it doesn't take a lot of time. You sit there at a computer, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and if you can kind of understand the program, I suppose, then everything's all right. For my show, I shoot a little 3 minute. Sometimes I shoot a 2 minute video, and I'm like confused. So.
Oh, I know. That's why but you're doing it by yourself, and we'll have 30 guys out there telling us technically how to do it. Not 30, but a whole bunch of them.
You know what? That must be right. And and speaking of that too, I want to give a special thanks to my lady as well, like you guys did, because just like for you all, she's really my backbone. A lot of times she's like, look, if I can't figure it out, she's like, listen, get out the way, let me do this. You know what I mean? And then it gets done, right? So. Absolutely. Listen, I want to.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you bringing us on.
Yeah, you got a great way about your voice and everything.
Look,
you got a good voice, Tony. He might make a good bartender.
Hey, that's all right. I make a good drink too, right before they shoot through it. I get that shot. Listen, absolutely. Once again, I want to thank you guys. Of course, listen, you both have a home here. Look, also, if you guys are having any campaigns or anything like that for the movie, or anything of that nature, and you want to run promotions through me and have me plug and put those out there for you and help promote, let me know, guys. I'm all for it. I'm behind you 100%.
That's very nice.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
No doubt. Listen, everybody out there all across the land, you're tuned in to the #1 station on the net, Keith Harris Show with your guy Keith Harris, and I've been talking to these two astoundingly gentlemen, Thomas E. Kelly and Michael Preece. And I tell you what, you need to check out all of their works. Listen, also go back, as Thomas spoke about earlier, go to Amazon, go to all the different local book locations, check out his books, all right? Also, check out both IMDb pages. That's Michael Preece, MICHAELPREECE, which you'll see it posted on my page anyway. Also, Thomas E. Kelly. Go check both these guys' works out. Be on the lookout for When the Storm Gods Rise. I tell you what, it's going to make it's going to bring all us men back to a point and kind of just make us look at our families and go, you know what, I would do that for you too, and just bring that down homeness to you. Also, I want to remind everyone, in case you tuned in late and you didn't catch the whole conversation with me and these gentlemen, it will be posted in full on social media shortly from now, so you can go back and hit the playback and everything like that. Once again, guys, I want to thank you so much. Look, it's been an honor for me. Like I say, just growing up and understanding this and somewhat being in the Westerns, but I can tell you what, I'm purely a Western fan now. No doubt about it.
Well, that's good.
And I got some more music to listen to, Thomas.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Thank you.
All right, have a good day, guys.
All right, thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Everybody out there all across the land, wow, man, that really got my spirits up right there. One of my greatest shows. I've done quite a bit of shows. I won't say a lot, but excuse me, I've done quite a bit of shows, and that honestly was one of my greatest. One I can really feel inside the heart. Two wonderful gentlemen, making extreme contributions, to our society. In motion picture, and as well with just writings and novels. Speaking about Thomas E. Kelly, Michael Preece speaks for itself. But once again, I want to thank both of them gentlemen for coming on today. I want to thank all my listeners for tuning in, all of our listeners, all the supporters for Hotline Radio, everybody out there on the West Coast, everybody in New Mexico, everybody in Malibu, everybody in Toronto, Canada, just wherever you're out there tuning in and listening for it. Thank you for the support. Make sure you check these guys out on their social media sites, okay? You can go to the Facebook and type in When the Storm Gods Ride, and you can follow that situation. You can keep up with what they have coming out as well. Stay in touch. Make sure you do support them as we do right here. Don't you touch that dial. You are listening to the Keith Harris Show right here on the #1 station on the net, Hotline Radio.